Alright, you guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the page. Sitting in my car right now. It's raining out here in Virginia. About to go get some groceries. I'm just sitting in my car with the heater on. And, I felt like I'd make a video. I want to talk in this video about reestablishing your link to your health, because this is a flame that seems to be either burning really, really dimly in most people, or it's been snuffed out. Some people don't even give 2 ounces of half of a shit about their health, and they snuff their candle out. They snuff the lamp or the light of their health out. And some people kind of care about it, but it's kind of on the back burner. And when that happens, the lamp or the lantern of your health, it ends up burning dimly, metaphorically speaking. So the candle, if you will, or the lamp of health is something that you control the luminosity of. And it's controlled based on your actions, ladies and gentlemen. So we've talked in the past about getting the momentum going, getting your health momentum moving in the right direction, and then learning to sustain that. This is done through our actions. So for instance, if you wake up every morning and have 6 donuts, eventually that's going to catch up to you. You might have some issues with your teeth from it. You might, because of the elevated blood sugar all the time, it can lead to issues. All of the processed carbohydrates can put a lot of it can induce inflammation. It can put stress on your liver, you name it. Whereas if you woke up every morning and maybe just had a glass of orange juice, fresh orange juice with the pulp still in it, that you pressed with a citrus juicer, that's going to fuel your body in a completely different way than all of those donuts. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have some donuts here and there, because my model of health is you've got to party sometimes as well. You've got to be able to do the things that you love in life. And some people love donuts. I'm not asking you to quit everything that you're doing right now that's unhealthy. It's all about moderation to a large extent, folks. But learning to live with moderation, learning to master moderation, is something that poses a huge challenge to many people, because for many people, especially people here in the United States, they're kind of living under the mentality of, I'm either into it fully or I'm not. And what I mean by that is that people are either going to not put, people are either going to push the accelerator or not at all. So, that's why if I can speak today, holy shit, excuse me. That's why I think a lot of people get imbalanced when they get into health. They become these health nuts because they approach things from a very dogmatic perspective, where they think they can't have like a donut here and there, or once a week, this, that, and the other. You've got to have moderation. You've got to have balance, and this is the true art of health, ladies and gentlemen, is moderation. Learning to say no when you need to, and learning to say okay when it's justified. So, to get back on track with the lamp, you have the ability to regulate the light of your lamp, the luminosity of the lamp. You have the ability to regulate how efficiently the flame burns, folks. But it's all through your actions. And like I said, if you woke up and had orange juice every morning instead of donuts, that's going to give you a lot of benefit, because there's so many great things in fresh pressed orange juice. The apigenin, there's anti-inflammatory constituents in it. There's quality sugars in it, ladies and gentlemen, that are going to fuel your system. It's going to fuel your brain. It's going to light your brain up. That's one thing that I don't really like eating food when I wake up. I just don't. I'm not a huge breakfast person, although I love breakfast. I'm just not a huge breakfast person. I would always wait until later in the day to have breakfast, or I would do breakfast for dinner. But I do like to drink fluids in the morning. I try to drink a big glass of water when I wake up, because more often than not, I'm really dehydrated by the time I wake up, and that really gets my system going. But I like to, if I have access to it, have some good quality fruit juice, especially orange juice. That is going to light your brain up, ladies and gentlemen. Real good quality sugars are very beneficial, especially sugars from fruits, and especially fruits that you grow yourself or that you get from a local farmer, you name it. I've been talking about the detriments of fruit for a long time. But if you've paid attention in my videos where I talk about fruit being unhealthy, I always talk about how fruit is unhealthy when it comes from the store. More often than not, the fruits are hybridized. They're spliced with weird genetics. They have unnaturally large amounts of sugar that have been pumped into them through their gene splicing, etc. These are frankenfoods, but fruits that you can get from a farm or a loved one's garden, those are some of the greatest foods in this dimension, in my opinion. So just to dovetail this in, if you have energy issues, you might want to look at your sugar intake. Are you getting enough carbohydrates? When you consume fruit sugars, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of really wholesome carbohydrates. As long as it's coming from a good source. And organic fruit from the store, that'll work, but there's still a weird energy to it. I don't know how to explain it. I've always put more of an emphasis on vegetables because the vegetables at the store, for some reason, they haven't undergone as much of a transformation as the fruit. Some of the fruits in these stores are so weird. And that's like just observing them energetically while in altered states of consciousness or just looking at them. They look lifeless. But luckily for me, I have access to quite a large amount of homegrown fruit nowadays. So that's besides the point. I just wanted to dovetail that in. If you have energy issues, look at your sugar intake. And if you do consume a lot of sugar and you have energy issues, it's probably because you're consuming the wrong form of sugars. Look to things like orange juice for energy. But you have the ability through your actions, as I was saying, folks, to regulate whether or not your lamp is even on or not. And if your lamp is not on, if you are not actively taking care of your health on a consistent basis, you will not have that protective shield around you that you would have if you took care of your health regularly. You're going to be much better off, ladies and gentlemen, in life if you take care of your health on a daily basis. And it's very simple. It's not difficult to do this. You've just got to turn it into a habit. You've got to turn it into a pattern, just like anything else in life. Once you get the swing of things, everything else falls into place. In the same way that you learn how to ride a bike with training wheels before you learn to ride it without it, you've got to learn it. You got to put those training wheels on. Start taking care of your goddamn health and start doing it in tandem with the inner temple exercise and the full body relaxation exercise. These things are going to bring you a lot of benefit if you could just start doing them and stay true to it for a prolonged, extended period. Otherwise, you're just going to flip-flop like a fish hopping in the water and then out of it, back and forth. You've got to find a system, you've got to have faith in it, and you've got to go forward with it and do your best. So many people start things and then they stop, and then they do new things and then they stop, and then it's like this ping pong effect. You've just got to find a path that resonates with your moral code. You've got to stick with it and ride it out. And this channel is all about how you can find that path. I do my best to offer very valid tools that you can use so that you can get on track in life. For instance, not to be repetitive, but the inner temple, that is an exercise that allows you to communicate with parts of your mind that you normally do not communicate with ever. Again, we operate on what I call the front of the mind. If you've watched my videos, you know what I mean when I say the front of the mind. The inner temple allows you to pull the curtain back and start communicating with the parts of the mind behind the front of the mind. It allows you to get to actually know yourself through subconscious communication. The inner temple allows you to communicate with your subconscious mind. You can go into your inner temple, go to the pool in the middle, scry into it, and ask your mind what's best for you, what do you need to be doing in life, and it will give you answers back. I've given you a system whereby you can actually communicate with yourself and your higher self, and it will tell you the things in life that you should be doing. There's a good chance you already know what you need to be doing in life to be on track, to be healthy, to get what's best out of life for you. But we build these barriers because we operate on the front of the mind. And when you operate on the front of the mind, you don't communicate with the parts behind it, behind the curtain. I hope that makes sense. This is very simple stuff. We've just been thrown into this world where we've been taken out of simplicity. We've been taken out of a common sense approach towards life. We've been filled full of educational factoids and pieces of information from school, and we're trapped in our intellect. We are trapped in our intellect, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have common sense anymore. Reattaining common sense is done through you becoming or accessing simplicity again. This is not supposed to be difficult, folks. But again, the Matrix has you trapped in your intellect. It's got you trapped in your mind. Most of the most intellectual people with all these degrees and all this shit, they're some of the dumbest people in this dimension. And I'm not trying to sound rude. It's just true. We've got to be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. With all the people, with all the all the degrees and all these experts and all these college graduates and these doctors and these scientists, with all of these so-called intellectual enlightened geniuses, look at the state of affairs here in this dimension. Something's wrong here, folks. We are operating outside of the way that we were designed to operate. And when we do that on a mass level, we violate the laws of nature. And now we are experiencing the whiplash effect on the opposite side of the coin of that. We are experiencing the detriment of living an artificial life. We are plugged into the Matrix. The Matrix is an artificial world that's been thrown inside of this beautiful kingdom, this heavenly realm called Eden, called Earth. And we exist within it, and we get programmed by it. And due to our programming by the Matrix, we don't even see the truth of nature anymore. You see, we have a real house, which is nature, and then we have this artificial house, this pod life that we live, because we've been programmed by the Matrix. The Matrix has set up its housing systems and its electromagnetic field colonies, and it's set up its 1,000-headed Hydra system with its medical establishments and its colleges and its... it's forced us to work these 9-to-5 jobs all our entire life like we're slaves. And because of that, we have created what I call the double. This is the real ego. We've talked about this in prior videos. I'm not going to get into it in this video. Please watch my older videos for clarification. There's a ton of information here on the Patreon page. I really do hope that you guys are watching these. Unfortunately, some of these videos only get like 5-6 views, but it is what it is. I told you long ago that even if my videos only got 1 view and it helped 1 person, I would still make these. So I'm going to practice what I preach and actually do that. But getting the momentum going. I have multiple videos on this, folks. You see, momentum is... we are a rhythmic species. Human beings, psychologically, when they do things that are similar on a daily basis, it becomes a habitual pattern, and there's all sorts of neurochemistry and biochemical changes that take place when we learn a new habit. We become locked in an engagement. Our brain becomes used to our patterns, our rhythms, our circadian rhythms, our hormones, our neurotransmitters. We become locked into an engagement. It's called muscle memory. We are a psychosomatic entity, and when we start doing things that are similar on a regular basis, not only our mind gets used to it, and it becomes a pattern mentally, psychologically, you name it, but it becomes a pattern on a hormonal and neurotransmitter level. We become locked into an engagement. It becomes a biological circadian rhythm of sorts. So this culture, to a large extent, by interacting with it the way that we've learned to interact with it, which is a very suboptimal way of interacting with life. We were never taught how to live properly. We've talked about this in other videos. Again, I'm not going to be repetitive. Please watch those older videos. We were never given an instruction manual on how to live life. We were thrown into this matrix before we could even take a deep breath for ourselves, metaphorically speaking. We are all the byproducts of... We are all children that were told to stop playing, and we got forced into these education camps that are like glorified FEMA camps, and we were taught how to operate. We were taught how to have limits. We were taught how to observe the world. Now, unfortunately, the way that we were taught to observe the world has nothing to do with our higher self or our own personal evolution. It has nothing to do with Kundalini and the actual truth about who we are and what our purpose is here. And because of the way that we are taught how to look at reality when we go through the education system, and we've all been through it, we create a momentum, a biological circadian rhythm, a muscle memory of sorts that is non-optimal to our growth. Modern living, which lacks common sense, modern living, which is filled full of stress and bad health, you name it, modern living, which teaches you to have limits, deep limits on a subconscious level, it shuts your power off. But modern living and all the vices that is contained within it that we are taught in these education camps and by our peers, our family, you name it, as well-meaning as they may be, there's a good chance your parents were not enlightened. They taught you things, they handed down things to you that were programs that they had installed into them, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say here, ladies and gentlemen, is that modern fucking living has created a habit of how your body works, your mind works, and it all has to do with the crap that's been pumped into your mind and the obligations and tasks that you've been given by the Matrix. You've got to go to school, you've got to get all these tasks done, you've got to get these reports finished, yada yada fucking yada. You never have time to sit down and even think for yourself or develop a strong outlook on life based on your own unique interests and why your soul is even here. So the momentous wheel, the momentum in life, it's operating in the wrong way. I have a video on how to break the momentum, the cycle of momentum, and to change the way that the wheel is spinning. Because we're all like rats on a rat wheel right now that's leading nowhere. It may seem like you're going somewhere because you're expending energy and you're aging and you're getting things done and you're getting paychecks, and you might live under the illusion of progress, ladies and gentlemen. But at the end of the day, you're on a rat wheel. And rat wheels go nowhere. They just move. So again, it all starts with a morning routine. You want to get healthy in life. Start with the first segment of your day, which is your morning. If you drink coffee, look at what you're doing with your coffee. Are you putting creamer in it? I'm not saying that creamer is necessarily bad. I am, however, saying that calories in the morning have the ability, especially when they come from fat, to slow the mind down. If you're going to consume sugar, I recommend consuming it in the morning and do it from fruit sources or other more natural sources. We'll talk about that in the near future. Fats in the form of liquids in the morning have a tendency to really slow the mind down, unless you're on a ketogenic diet, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. Look at what you're doing in the morning. If you're eating solid foods and it works for you, that's fine. But more often than not, when I get people to stop eating solid foods in the morning and I get them to lean on liquid calories, as long as they're the right liquid calories, their productivity usually skyrockets and they experience a lot of beneficial changes. They might lose some weight. It's amazing what doing things in the morning does to the rest of your day. Are you waking up and making your bed? Make your goddamn bed. Get orderly. Get organized. Organization and being organized is crucial. Not leaving a bunch of dishes out overnight in the sink and just keeping your house in order is crucial, ladies and gentlemen. Change your cosmetics. If you're a female and you wear makeup, there's a ton of alternatives on the market that are non-toxic. Wearing makeup is horrible for you. But you can also, ladies and gentlemen, use the... I'm going to make another video on how to wash clothing without filling yourself full of toxins, but most people are washing their clothes with really dangerous detergents and soaps. I've showed you guys in the past what detergents I use. It's, you want to get rid of all the stuff that has the synthetics and the metals, you name it, in it. If you wake up after a morning's rest and then throw on a t-shirt that has a bunch of heavy metal residues on it, etc., are you really going to be doing what's best for you? Simple changes make huge, drastic changes, ladies and gentlemen. I am a huge fan of simplicity, and simplicity translates to, okay, instead of me fretting about all this stuff with my health, how about I just approach it really gently and realize that, hey, maybe if I just make some simple changes, I won't have to, completely uproot my life and change everything and experience all this stress as a byproduct of it. Maybe I can just make some simple changes. For instance, maybe I can get a water filter. Maybe I can get a shower filter. So now every time I take a shower, I'm bathing in clean water. It doesn't take much effort to bathe, does it? And once you get that shower filter, all you have to do is keep doing what you were normally doing. You just stand under the water and clean yourself. We've talked about how in Dr. Mark Serkis, in his book Healing with Iodine, he goes on to show that if you drink or bathe in tap water with chlorine in it, you increase your risk of getting cancer, especially as a male, by like 97%. Chlorine, hexafluorosilicic acid, pipe residues, scaling lime, inorganic compounds, cobalts, plutonium, runoff. There's just so much crap in tap water. And tap water is the stuff that you bathe in when you shower. So by removing just one element, chlorine, with a shower filter, you remove a constituent that would normally increase your risk of cancer by 97%. Now, on top of that, all of the other crap, like the cadmium and the different metals in the shower filter or in the water that you're filtering with your shower filter, those increase your risk of cancer too. So you are literally, by bathing in a shower with a shower filter, you are reducing your risk of death from illness by like 5,000%. I am not shitting you. Now imagine the success and the benefit on your body that would take place if you from now on for the rest of your life bathed in water that was filtered properly. And there's some really advanced shower filters on the market nowadays that remove far more than chlorine. I mean, Jesus Christ, be gentle on yourself. Your body is your spacesuit that God gave you to navigate the physical dimension in. For some reason, people see the common sense rationale in taking their car to have the oil changed every 4,000 to 5,000 miles, but they don't work on themselves. This body is a vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. It requires specific nutrients and maintenance. But people have been dumbed down. I know to this day people who tell me, why do you recommend all those products? Why do you recommend vitamin D? That's snake oil. Vitamin D is snake oil. I've seen it I've seen amazing results with people's health with vitamin D. People literally have been programmed by Big Pharma to such an extent where they think that supplements and vitamins are like snake oil. Really? Because I've seen people cure their irregular heartbeats in their out of alignment pulse with coenzyme Q10 and magnesium. I've seen people cure, I can't even say certain things, but I've seen the power of these specific compounds that I recommend. I've seen people do amazing things with zinc. We just recently did a post here on the Patreon page about taking zinc once a week, supplemental zinc, especially during the colder months. That can be very beneficial. Sadly, a large majority of the foods that people eat on a regular basis are so deficient in nutrients that you're never going to get everything that you need from the foods that you eat. I'm sorry, but the nutritional, the nutritional components in modern food, they resemble cardboard pretty much. I'm speaking in exaggeration, but it's true. There's nothing in these foods anymore unless they're fortified. And these fortified foods, they're not fortified with the right components. Nature was designed to provide foods for us in a very specific fashion. Modern agriculture, mono-farming, you name it, has taken away that natural design, and we overuse the soils, we abuse the animals that we eat, you name it, and because of these bastardizations and abominations that we as a culture have abided to, we are experiencing the negative whiplash effect of the opposite side of the coin again. Modern food is garbage. You've got to start taking care of your health. You've got to start getting serious. You have got to make this the nucleus, the core, the foundation of your life. Your health, ladies and gentlemen, what you do on a regular basis with it, and your magic, those two intertwined are going to be a system that you can use to quantum leap into self-induced evolution that will keep you safe here in the underworld, the land of the dead. Do you not hear the seriousness in my voice? We have got to wake the fuck up. This is a very serious situation here on Earth, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in a fallen state, and human beings have been turned, quite literally, into zombies. A zombie is an entity that has been taken out of alignment of what it once was. Human beings are zombies. They lack the light. They lack the kundalini. They lack the serpent force, ladies and gentlemen. They lack a true connection to their higher self. And the higher self is the bridge, quite literally, to God. This culture is sick beyond sick. How we've made it this far is a mystery to me, folks. So you might want to start taking things seriously, but have fun with it. I don't mean to get on here and sound all amped up to make you afraid. I'm not trying to be a sensationalist. I just know the serious nature of modern living. There is a lot of bad health. There is a lot of corruption, and I don't want to see you get wrapped up in that spider's web. You have the ability, if you use your time wisely and you act now and you start engaging in your magic, you have the ability to unravel any knots that you've got yourself caught in, and then you can experience life from the opposite side of the coin. You can start to have freedom, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Get yourself out of the matrix, ladies and gentlemen. You have the ability to do it. Start regulating your lamp in the amount of light coming out of it. When you get the momentum working in the right way, when you start to break free from the shackles of your bad health and your unhealthy habits, when you start to get rid of your addictions and replace them for healthy things, the lamp starts to burn brighter and it starts to cast an illumination around you, which is a metaphor for you being able to see clearly. Your health will allow you to see through the darkness. That's why I call it a lamp. Lamps illuminate things. But when you're unhealthy and your brain doesn't work properly and you're all fucked up from the cigarettes and the alcohol and the drugs and you can't see clearly because of it and you're all malnourished, you will not be able to see into the dark. Get yourself back on track. I'm going to wrap this one up, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, peace be with you all.